Am I the only one who feels like Skyward Sword is to Zelda what The Mandalorian is to Star Wars? Welcome back, everyone. We're 2 weeks into my playthrough of the Zelda games in timeline order, and I have finished Skyward Sword. If you missed my last video, I already went over my thoughts for Act 1 of the game, including the story and some of the gameplay elements, so go ahead and check that out, but today I'll be talking about Act 2 and Act 3 of the game. We ended last video with Zelda and Impa traveling through the Gate of Time while you hold off Girahim. Well, Impa told you to go back to the sacred grounds to meet up with the Ancient Lady. So, that's what you do. You travel back, but as you're skydiving back down to the surface, Groose jumps out and decides to skydive down with you. This is always hilarious, especially on a first playthrough, because you're just not expecting it at all. You know Groose to be like this high school bully character who doesn't care about you at all, and then all of a sudden he's jumping out of the sky following you because he thinks you know something about Zelda and he's worried about her. It's just really fun because Groose ends up having a great character arc where he turns into this really good guy, and it starts here with him just following you because he wants to know what's going on. So then you get down to the surface, and the ancient demon avocado known as the Imprisoned decides to wake up, so you have to go fight him and seal him away. This first fight with the Imprisoned actually isn't too bad. You end up fighting him 3 times throughout the game, and I'm just going to talk about all 3 of them right here. But this first one isn't terrible because it's your first time. You're told that the imprisoned beast is waking up and you have to go seal him away so he doesn't return. It's, story-wise it makes sense. The fight isn't great. You're basically just chopping off this avocado's toes until he dies. So it's not fun, but it's not like sluggish or lame. But the other 2 are pretty annoying. I really don't like that you have this same boss fight every single time. Don't get me wrong, it's fun that they implement Groose into it, and so he's helping you fight the Imprisoned. But it's just the same thing again 2 more times. It's really not that fun after the first time, and it just kind of hurts the pacing. You know your mission, you know what you're trying to do. You just sealed him, why do you have to go do it again? I will say, though, actually sealing him away after you've defeated him is actually pretty fun, because you have to draw this insignia triangle thing with your sword, and it's really cool if you're playing with motion controls because you actually draw it out and you just feel super cool. So they do that part well, but the actual fights themselves, especially after the first one, are just super sluggish and hurt the pacing, not very fun. So then the old lady tells you that there's a second Gate of Time that you can use to meet up with Zelda and Impa in the past, but the only problem is you can't activate it because your sword isn't strong enough. You then learn about these 3 sacred flames that the goddess left behind for her chosen hero, and you have to find these sacred flames and imbue your sword with these sacred flames so it can become powerful enough to open the Gate of Time, and really you're just creating the Master Sword. That's what you're doing here. Which is really cool because the Master Sword has been around for a long time at this point. A lot of games have used it, and it's just really fun to see the origin story of the Master Sword and how it actually came to be. So you travel back to the surface searching for these 3 sacred flames, and this is where some of the pacing of the game gets hurt. When you enter the surface searching for each of these 3 sacred flames, you enter the Silent Realm, where you have to do this trial for the goddess to prove that you have the spirit of a hero. This trial includes searching for these 15 tears around the area, while also not getting caught by these guardians that are trying to kill you. It sounds really intimidating because it is, but for a good reason. I really like the design of these areas. I actually think they're pretty fun. Every time you enter one for the first time, you kind of think, oh boy, not this again. But then you start playing and you're like, oh, this actually is pretty fun. This isn't too bad. I can do this. So I enjoy it. It's like exhilarating and stressful, but in the right way. And it's always rewarding when you finish it. You feel like you accomplished a hard thing. So that's my thought on the Silent Realms. I'm not really going to talk about all 3 of them separately because they're pretty much the same. After you complete the Silent Realm, you're given a special item by the goddess that's supposed to help you on your journey, and all of them are pretty cool. Some of them are better than others. The first one in Faron is the dragon scale that lets you swim underwater, and you use that to find the dragon Faron. And Faron is going to tell you where the sacred flame is, but before she does that, she says that she wants you to complete a trial to prove that you're the hero. Even though the only way you were able to find her was with the dragon scale, which you could only get by completing a trial that proved that you were the hero. It just really bothers me because she already acknowledges, oh, you completed a trial that proves you're a hero. And then she says, oh, let me have you complete this trial that proves you're the hero. It just is so annoying for me and it really hurts the pacing. because you know I'm the hero. Why don't you just go let me find the flame? The task that she gives you is you have to bring her some sacred water that she can bathe in to heal herself, which is fine. It's actually really cool an idea, but it hurts the pacing, like I said. Basically, this sacred water is inside of the first dungeon that you completed in the area, Skyview Temple. And it's cool on paper because you're going back into a dungeon that you already completed, which sounds fun until you realize it's full of new monsters and new locks. So you already completed the dungeon and cleared it, but there's new locks, and so it's like completing the dungeon over again, and it just really bothers me. I've already done this dungeon. I shouldn't have to re-unlock all of the doors. So that really bothers me, but once you complete it, it's fine. Then you give the water to Pharaon, and then she shows you where the dungeon is. And then you get to the dungeon, and it's all better because it's the best dungeon in Zelda history. The Ancient Cistern legitimately is my favorite dungeon. It's just peak dungeon design. It feels like this pristine ancient Buddhist temple, and then you keep going through it, and then there's this dark underside, and it's just demonic, and it just works so well. I love it. I'm not going to super go into it because I don't want my videos to be crazy long, and I already ramble too much, but it's amazing. So you imbue your sword with the sacred flame, it makes your sword better, and then you travel to the next area, and that's pretty much all of Act 2, is you just traveling to the 3 separate regions to find a new dungeon to get the sacred flame. And these dungeons are really good. Most of them are better than the first 3 dungeons, but the actual progression of the dungeons in the story is definitely better in the first act than the second act. The Sand Ship is another amazing dungeon. You could argue it's better than the Ancient Cistern. And the Fire Sanctuary is really fun too, although I think it's weaker than the Ancient Cistern and the Sand Ship. But the problem is, in the first 3 dungeons, each dungeon progressed you to the next dungeon in a way that made sense within the story. In the first dungeon, you couldn't find Zelda, you need to keep following her. In the second dungeon, you find her, but you're told that you were too slow and you need to be a better hero. In the third dungeon, you get there on time and you get to be that hero. So all of the dungeons have this natural progression to them that really pays off. In Act 2, while these dungeons are better and the actual design of them gameplay-wise is phenomenal, story-wise, they all kind of hit the same beats, and so you don't feel like you're building to something as much as you did in Act 1. Instead, you're just kind of waiting until all 3 of them are done, and then the story can progress. At the end of the 3rd dungeon in Act 2, you have another encounter with Girahim, and this one's cool because he's found out that there is another Gate of Time, which of course you already know about, but he didn't. So he starts tormenting you, telling you, you're going to tell me where this Gate of Time is, I'm going to find it, and I'm going to go capture Zelda. And then, you fight him, he runs away, everything's great. But now you know that he's looking for it, so it adds more stakes. So you travel back to the sealed grounds with your new Master Sword, which is sick. You fight the imprisoned again, and then you activate the Gate of Time. So you go through the Gate of Time, and Impa is waiting on the other side, and she tells you that Zelda is waiting for you just ahead. So you go ahead, and Zelda's there, and you get this moment with Zelda finally, and it's amazing. You've been fighting so hard, you've been trying to find her, and you finally get that moment. But instead of just sitting there and enjoying it, Zelda decides to give you a massive lore dump, which makes it even better, honestly, but it's hilarious in the moment because you just want to have this happy moment, and instead she's like, guess what, we have more work to do. So she tells you all about the goddess Hylia, and about Demise, the Demon King, and about how he was sealed away, but the goddesses created the Triforce, this ultimate power that could not be used by the goddesses, could only be used by mortals. And that power is what Demise was seeking. So Hylia's ultimate plan was to create a hero that would unlock the Triforce, and then she would reincarnate herself as a mortal so she could use the Triforce and make sure that Demise never got his hands on it. And then she reveals that Zelda herself is the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia, which is just a crazy lore drop and is totally mind-blowing. And then she tells you that she knew that if she went into trouble, that you would do anything to save her, and you would build up the courage, the wisdom, and the power to unlock the Triforce. And she tells you that she used you this entire time just to get to the Triforce, which stabs like a dagger to the heart, because you care about her, you love her, really. And she's saying that she used you. just so she could get what she needs. Which, of course, is noble. You're taking down Demise. This is the goddess Hylia. But at the same time, you're kind of hurt. Because you and Zelda have known each other since you were kids. You were childhood crushes. You love her. And she's telling you that she just used you this entire time. And of course, she feels bad about it. She kind of regrets it, but she knows that it had to be done. Then she talks about how the seal on Demise is breaking, which of course you know because you've already had to fight him twice. And so Zelda decides that she has to seal herself away to strengthen the seal on Demise here on the sealed grounds. So she's going to enter this eternal slumber that will strengthen the seal because of the blood of the goddess within her. And so she looks at you, and oh my gosh, this just rips my heart out. She calls you sleepyhead like she always does. And she says, I always wake you up, but you're going to have to be the one to wake me up this time. And it makes me want to cry. It's so emotional. And then she seals herself away, and she's gone. And you know that the only way to wake her up is to get the Triforce and to use it to defeat Demise once and for all. So that's the end of Act 2. And then in Act 3, you're told that you have to find the 3 dragons because they each know a different part of the song that will show you where the Triforce is. So you have to go to each of the 3 dragons and convince them to teach you their part of the song. And then if you play all of the parts of the songs together, you will be revealed the location of the Triforce, which is pretty cool, very Zelda-y to incorporate music, really fun. It is a lot like Act 2 in the sense that the story is fairly stagnant and the separate locations just kind of hit the same beats, but it's still fun. A lot of the gameplay is still intriguing, if it wasn't for the fact that there's so much padding. So in The Mandalorian, the TV show, you'll have this really cool storyline about, say, getting Baby Yoda back to his kind to be with other Jedi. And you're really excited to follow that storyline and see where it goes. But then there are like 3 episodes that have nothing to do with that and are just following their own side quests and weird stories. And sure, they're fun, but you're confused about why this is important to the main story. That's what this feels like. A lot of it just feels like the developers wanted there to be more content, but didn't have time to design full dungeons, so they just added extra busy work in the overworlds. And sure, it's fun, but you can tell it was just kind of added at the end. So I don't really love that. But actually meeting the dragons is really fun. The lore there is really cool. And then you finally get all of the parts of the songs, and you unlock the last dungeon, which is super cool. It's revealed that the Triforce was hiding inside of the goddess statue inside of Skyloft the entire time, and you unlock the last dungeon called Skykeep, which is basically just a slide puzzle of different rooms that are themed to the dungeons you've already completed. And I'm torn on this dungeon if I like it or don't like it, because the idea is super fun. I like the slide puzzle aspect of it, that you kind of get to design how you go through the dungeon yourself. But there isn't like a dungeon boss. Just once you complete all 3 of the Triforce rooms, you're just done. Like, you collect all 3 parts of the Triforce, and then it just ends. It's really abrupt. So you have all 3 pieces of the Triforce, you have the complete Triforce, and you can use it to wish for the destruction of Demise. And that's just what you do. You wish for Demise to be defeated once and for all, and as you do that, the statue of the goddess in Skyloft falls to the ground, and it fits in perfectly with the sealed grounds, which is just so cool. I love that design. It's awesome. And Demise is defeated once and for all. And you finally get to go wake up Zelda, and you're so happy about it because she's been sleeping for who knows how long, because it was in the past. And you get to go, you wake her up, you get this happy moment where you've completed your mission, you've accomplished what you set out to do, and together you saved the world from Demise. And Groose is there too, and he's cool and he's great. And then Girahim shows up. And it's great because he has not been here all of Act 3, so you kind of forgot about him. But the second you see him, you remember, oh shoot. And he found the Gate of Time like he said he was going to. And he looks at all of you, and he kidnaps Zelda. And he takes her through the Gate of Time to the past. Because Demise may be defeated in this time, but in the past, he's still there. So Girahim takes Zelda to the past, and he plans to use the blood of the goddess to revive Demise back to full strength. So of course, you have to go after him. I actually really like the way they did this because finishing the way that it would have kind of feels abrupt. You just get the Triforce, and then you get this cutscene about wishing away Demise and saving the day and waking up Zelda, and it's all great and it's really happy and it's really emotional, but I wouldn't have wanted the game to end that way. So I'm happy they pulled the twist that Girahim shows up, and it makes sense within the story that they've told so far. And then when you go through the Gate of Time, you get this crazy mob rush before you get to Girahim, where he's just sending hordes and hordes of demons against you, and it honestly kind of feels like a Hyrule Warriors game, because there will be like 30 bokoblins and you just have to swing your sword and destroy them, but because you have the full Master Sword, they're all dead in like 1 or 2 hits. It's really fun. It makes you feel like a total savage. I love it. It's great. And then you get your final battle with Girahim, which is great because you've already fought him twice, but unlike the battles with the Imprisoned, these ones build on each other in a way that actually improves the gameplay. So this one is the most intense and the most focused, but it still feels similar, and you feel like you're learning from his attack patterns and he's learning from you. So I think it's done really well, and it's a great climax. It feels super high stakes, super aggressive, super stressful. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And then you defeat Girahim, and of course he's super angry, he's mad at you, you know, how could a mortal defeat me? But then he reveals, well, it doesn't matter, because my spell on Zelda has been going on the entire time we've been fighting anyway, and Demise is ready to be revived. And you realize, crap, Girahim was toying with me again, like he always does. And Demise gets revived, and he's crazy, he looks super scary, he's just ready to take over the entire world. And just like Girahim did, he starts toying with you, talking about how you're a mere mortal, you're nothing to him, he could destroy you. And he challenges you to a final duel, saying that he will destroy you and then he will take over the world. And then he goes into this little portal, enters an alternate dimension, and tells you to meet him there when you're ready. Which is really nice, because the first time I played this, I was worried that I was going to have to do the entire Girahim final duel, going straight into the final battle with Demise. And that would be way too much. But no, they let you go and refill your hearts and get potions and everything before the final battle with Demise. This final battle is great. I love when battles in Zelda games are just straight up sword fights. No fancy magic, no insane monsters or dragons, just you versus him, sword fight. And that's totally what this is. You just have to learn from his attack patterns, and you just have to beat him. You have to be the better swordsman, and that's it. But it's so good because it's still so cinematic. The alternate dimension that you traveled to fight him is beautiful, and it's great, especially phase 2, because you have to catch the lightning on your sword and throw it at him. It's so sick. I love it. So then you defeat him, and it's all over. But before he dies and is sealed away forever, he invokes this curse, which is super important for the Zelda timeline. Demise bestows a curse that himself, Zelda, and you, Link, will forever be reincarnated in an endless cycle of bloodshed. That the blood of the goddess, the spirit of the hero, and Demise will always return. There will always be another Demon King. And this is essentially the setup for every single Zelda game that comes after this. This is why there are so many Zeldas and so many Ganondorfs or Ganons or Vatis or whatever the big bad guy is. But he's defeated. And he's defeated once and for all, and he's sealed away in the Master Sword, and he's done. And you get to go back and save Zelda, and she's okay, and she's happy, and everything's good, and the world can finally be at peace, at least for now. And then you're shown that people start coming back down to the surface, that people from Skyloft start moving down and start staying, and they're able to travel freely from the ground and the sky. And it's just this great resolution to the story. And at the end, you get this final moment between Link and Zelda standing on the goddess statue where this whole thing started. And Zelda's talking about how she wants to stay down here and she wants to live down here, and she asks Link what he wants to do. And he just gives her this smile, and then it pans away to their 2 loft wings flying away together. And obviously Nintendo's never going to confirm anything, but we all know that they love each other, they ended up getting married, and they lived happily ever after. I love this story so much. It has a complete beginning, middle, and end. You're always invested from the very beginning until the final battle. It's great. Yes, some of the pacing in Act 2 and 3 in the middle there gets kind of sluggish, but it's never so much that it completely takes you out of it. Link and Zelda's relationship is the main driving factor here, and like I talked about last video, it is set up so strongly in the beginning that it doesn't matter how mid some of the gameplay is, that storyline drives you through the entire game. It's so good. I know there's plenty of the game that I skipped over or didn't talk about enough, but it's a really long game, and there's just too many aspects to cover in a video like this. So I wanted to cover the things that I cared about the most, whether that be pros or whether that be cons. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game, at least what I wanted to talk about. There's plenty I didn't cover. If there's something you want to hear me talk about that I didn't cover, you can let me know down below. I'll talk to you about it in the comments. I have been considering doing a ranking video, like ranking the dungeons or ranking the items in this game. Haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not yet. If you want it, let me know, and maybe if enough people want it, I'll do it. But that's everything for Skyward Sword. I'm probably going to rank it on a tier list with the other Zelda games as I play them, so I'll probably put that out later. But yeah, Minish Cap's next. Gonna start playing Minish Cap. I have never beat Minish Cap. It's one of the few games that I've played but I've never beat. I've gotten like 5 hours into it, so this will be really fun. I'm excited. I don't think the story's going to be as in-depth, but I think the gameplay will be pretty fun. I know a lot of people love it. So hopefully I'll have a video about that out soon. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.